It's time for the Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. The Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. Be a good time, gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen. Shout for the Trucker John live stream, on a good time. Oh yeah, the Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time. The Trucker John live stream is gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen.
It's time for the Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah, the Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen. It's time for the Trucker John live stream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah, the Trucker John live stream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Oh yeah, it's the Trucker John live stream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch him out, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John live stream is the best thing you've ever seen. It's a good time, good time, good time. Trucker John live stream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit, hush your mouth. Gonna gonna talk a little smack, gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Gonna get such a good time last week. He's the biggest never seen. Want you now? He said so. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the truth that you're last week is the best thing you've ever seen. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the truck of John last street is the best thing you've ever seen.
Out part is never quite as fun as the effing around part. And unfortunately, a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump on November 5th are starting to come to that realization. It is the old meme, the person who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party saying, I never thought leopards would eat my face. But unfortunately, these people, these independent voters, the swing voters who did end up casting a ballot for Donald Trump are quickly realizing that oopsie-doo, maybe we should have done a little research before we voted for the tyrant. And luckily, BuzzFeed decided to put together a list of social media posts about how horrible these people are now realizing the country is about to become because of what they did. Let me read you a couple of these. First one. It happened today. A co-worker, white lesbian with a special needs child, spoke about how she voted for Orange Man because of her beliefs and faith, said she didn't know about his plans with the Department of Education, and he's not allowed to take away funding, especially for special needs kids. Well, unfortunately, Vivek Ramaswamy did, of course, confirm over this past weekend that the Department of Education is one of many government agencies that he will be deleting. And yes, the Department of Education is in fact responsible for not just providing funding for low-income schools across the country, they are also responsible for providing funding to public schools for special needs children. If the Department of Education gets eliminated, that federal funding will no longer be available, and instead we will have to rely on state funding. Many states, especially those across the South down here, don't have the money to do that. So yes, that will be cut. Here's another one. My MAGA cousin who voted for Trump's text the family group chat saying, sorry, their grammar there was terrible. But anyway, this is what their MAGA-loving cousin said. After reading the econ lecture notes, I have come to the conclusion that not only will grocery prices will not drop, but the produces and other products will get worse. It's a lot to type and I'm in public, but will expand upon my reasoning later, but expect no longer finding green bananas. Good luck on citrus, especially since limes and lemons are exported. Dessert and pastry prices will skyrocket. So that's from somebody's Trump voting cousin who suddenly realizes, oops, maybe I should have researched what tariffs are and who pays for them before I voted for this guy. I no longer get to have the fruit that I love so much, or the desserts and pastries. Another one. A Latino male voter told CNN that mass deportations won't extend to law-abiding workers, saying, quote, that wouldn't be fair. They need to make sure that they don't throw away, they don't kick out, they don't deport people that are family-oriented. Well, hate to burst your bubble there, but actually several Trump allies have been explicit in saying that we need to make sure people understand we're not just going after the gang members or the criminals. We're going after these people as a monolith because that is what they said. Those are their exact words. They don't care if you're here legally or if you're here illegally. They don't care if you're a law-abiding family man or if you're out there killing people every day. You're all the same to them. And they have made that abundantly clear in statements to the public media. Another one. MAGA neighbor came over and just a fascinating journey through the mindset. First, he was gloaty about how Trump was going to save the economy, whether I like it or not. Then annoyed that I said tariffs are dumb. Then sad when he learned what they are. Then angry I said I can afford them, whether he could or not. Incredible to watch a guy lose morale in real time on learning that actually the people around him will not suffer more than him, and some might suffer less. Now look, here's the thing. I don't want to say that these people deserve whatever is coming for them, because they kind of don't. But then the other part of me thinks, you kind of do, right? I mean, I'm not saying that to be a jackass. I'm not saying that to sit back and be like, you know what, screw it. Get all the horrible stuff. You deserve it. It's that this information was readily available. I talked about it every day. Everybody else that does this talked about it every single day. News outlets reported on this. Economists were warning us. Scholars were warning us. Scientists were warning us. The information was readily available. We were basically spoon-feeding it to you daily. Not because we hate Trump, but because we understood what was at stake. We weren't doing that just to make him look bad. We were doing it so that you could make an educated and informed decision when you went to cast your ballot. So that part of me that did the work, that did the research, that sat here and did the math for you, that part of me says, screw you. You chose this. You made the conscious decision to not seek out additional information until after the election had been called. That is on you. You can't change that. You did this. And the other part of me, the part of me that actually does have compassion, that part of me doesn't want to see these people suffer, even though they made poor decisions, right? You don't want them to go through this. You don't want to see these people deported or their loved ones deported. You don't want to see Donald Trump strip them of their naturalization, which, by the way, is also a thing they are talking about doing. So even if you came here legally and you became a citizen, they can strip that from you. And they're looking at ways to do it. Again, I talked about that. I know the media talked about it to a degree. So it's not like this was special information that only I received. It's out there. You can look that up. But there's only so much we can do for these low information voters. And I don't say that as an insult. Obviously, these people did not have all the information. They were, by definition, low information voters. They got the information after the fact, but hey, wouldn't it have been awesome if y'all had done that 2.5 weeks ago, right? I mean, 3 weeks ago, 6 months ago, anytime prior to November 5th really would have been fine. But you didn't. And you made the choice not to do it. And now you're freaking out. Rightfully so. Things will get worse. It's not a question of if they will or will they not. It will get worse. If Trump does what he is telling us he's going to do, things in this country will get worse. Prices will go up. Unemployment will go through the roof. We will suffer collectively. Some will suffer more than others. But unless you're in that top 1%, you will not be spared from some form of suffering. Or maybe you are in the 1%, you've got plenty of money, you can weather the storm. Well, great. That money's not going to protect you when your civil rights are on the table too. So eventually the suffering will come for everybody. And that is why I do have sympathy. Because I'll suffer. My wife is an educator. She's already considering, as are many other teachers that I've spoken to, leaving the industry. I mean, they went to school for this. They trained for this. They've done this for years and years and years. They're already talking about leaving because of what's going to happen to the Department of Education. So everybody is going to be hit, just to different levels. But I think at the end of these 4 years, I don't think there's going to be anybody that didn't suffer to some degree from Donald Trump's upcoming term.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John. Who let the dogs out? Hey, if you guys can hear me, give me a big old thumbs up in the chat. That'd be nice. Let me make sure that this thing is working. I see a green light. I can only assume. One can only assume. Fancy says, yes, I hear you. Thank you, Fancy. So Fancy hears me, at least. It is the rise of the low information voter, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for the thumbs up there, Julie. It is the rise of the low information voter. We've always had them. They've always been around, no doubt. But this time, they really did it, didn't they? They really did it to us. They fucked us all. They fucked us all over. These goddamn low information voters. Look, they don't. I was watching Rachel Bittercoffer this morning on Stephanie Miller. And then that, what I just ran there, that that tape of that dude. Look, the low information voters, they don't give a fuck. It's not that, okay, we were spoon feeding them information. The information was out there of what the economy would do under a Trump administration, under if the things that Trump has been stumping for, on his campaign speeches, if he does that, there's all of these Nobel Prize winning economists that came out and told us what was going to happen. For months and months and months, this information has been out there. But people aren't going to hear that if they aren't listening. They don't even fucking take time to listen. They don't take the time to care enough to even watch anything other than a fucking goddamn video game, I bet you. Now, I know I'm going to sound like the old get off my lawn old man. But these low information voters, they're all either sitting around watching Maury. That's how far behind the times. Is Maury even still on? Or they're watching their soap operas. Or they're playing video games. They don't give a fuck about finding anything about anything. And like Rachel said, and this is what I've been saying too, they just think of, there's two groups. There's the maggots and there's the uninformed. The maggots will vote for Trump no matter what. They're in the cult. They're in. And then there's that low information voter. And they think Trump is some badass businessman from New York City. He's old. He's the original gangsta. Or some such shit. So then they vote for him just because of name recognition and some sort of false idea of what the man is. They don't probably even know about the 34 felonies. That's how low information they are. They don't know about E. Jean Carroll and him being found guilty of sexually assaulting her. That's how fucking out of it they are. They're still thinking of the 2004 Donald Trump or something. I don't know. And then they circle, they fill in the circle next to his name, and they put in their ballot. And then they Google, what's a tariff? God help us all. Even us atheists. God help us all. We've been taken over by the stupid. Idiocracy is here. The United States of Idiocracy. It is here. No doubt. I'm a little cranky. Let me go to the chat and say hello to everybody. I think first in the chat, it looked like was Nick Rich. Doug G's in there. Hey, Doug G, good to see you. Pamela's here. Hello, Pamela. Good to see Pamela. You guys are the early in the driver's lounge there. The first few in there. William's here. Good morning to you, William. We got Roxanne. Good morning to Roxanne. Ichabod Deer. Hey, there's Ichabod Deer. Good to see Ichabod. Teresa's here. Hello, Teresa. TAK. Good to see Teresa. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Pamela, it's too quiet in the lounge. Way too quiet. Teresa had a sad day. They had to put down a 13-year-old Siberian Husky this morning. He was suffering and real bad. Sorry to hear that, Teresa. That's always sad. We have pets that we love, and they've been around for a long time, and and that happens. So sorry for your loss, and but yeah, just know he was in a lot of pain and suffering, so he's in a better place now. Deborah Murphy's here. Deborah says, hello, I cannot stay long. Grandson is doing a grandparents program at school. Might be my last for a while. Enjoy your grandkids. Enjoy your time. This is the family time of year right here. Thanksgiving is probably the biggest, I think, family get-together kind of time. And then the schools do a lot of programs. So enjoy your time with your family. Absolutely. Josh is here. Carrie C. Hey, Carrie C. Good to see you. Jolie. We got Jolie, our mod extraordinaire, is here. Good to see Jolie. Thank you for being here. Thanks for helping me out. Torby Cat's here. Hey, Torby. Good to see you. In the chat. In the chat room. Here we are in the chat room. The driver's lounge, as I like to call it. Deborah Murphy. So Trump thought he could put his name on a Gibson guitar. And there was a cease and desist order out against that because I don't think those are Gibson guitars. Or maybe the ones in the pictures were, but whatever they're selling, I don't think it is. Some cheap knockoff. Hey, Kim Cheese here says, hi, beautiful people. Checking in quickly. Going to my brother-in-law funeral. Much love. Go visit your relatives. Yeah, thank you for stopping in, and my condolences on your loss of your brother-in-law there. And yeah, go and do that. That's much more important than being here. That's for sure. Let's see. Ichabod here. Josh is here. Who else we got? Who else we got? Who else is in the chat? Oh, you lovely trucklers. AM's here. Hello from New Jersey. From Jersey. Hey, AM. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Aaron West is here. So now we are at full mod capacity. That's right, folks. Full mod capacity. So you better watch yourself. AM says, so are avocados and most of the citrus. Oh, I mid-thread there. I guess we're maybe talking about what's going to happen when we, I guess, deport all of our farm workers. Trophy Cat, bird flu for everyone. James Williams here. Good morning to James Williams. M. West is here. Good morning, everybody. Except for the scurvy news. We got scurvy. We're going to have scurvy breakouts now, probably. Okay, there's Fancy. Little Fancy's here. Fancy was gave me a thumbs up earlier, so there you go. Jolie, I have no compassion for idiots. Me either. I'm so sick of them. Mindy Nitrous says, truckers and sparklers. Yep, that's what, and you combine that, and we're trucklers. The Soulcraft is here. Morning, folks. Was checking Alex Jones, and because of that new lawsuit, he still has operation of his site for now. Really? I didn't hear about that. I have not heard about that. The Soulcraft says Jones is promising World War III by Xmas, drifting hard as usual. I guess that's what you got to do in order to get to the numbers that he's had. I mean, You got to just spout shit like that. Because apparently there's enough dumb fucks in this country that will just gobble that shit up left and right. They gobble up that bullshit. They just lap it up. You fucking lemmings. And I'm not talking about anyone here in the chat. I'm talking about the Alex Jones followers, the Glenn Beck followers, the old I almost said Rachel, the old Limbaugh followers. They lap that bullshit up. There's just something about that bullshit they can't get enough of. Ichabod Deer is Farron a Scientologist? He lives among them. I don't know, but I don't, and I know he's like I think he's a TYT guy, right? And I don't follow TYT. I don't really listen to, but that video popped up on Instagram, and I thought it was I liked what he said, and it kind of goes along with a lot of my feelings about these low information voters, that really fucked us over. And so that's why I played that. And I've seen his clips before. I don't think he's ever really said anything that is really egregious, or like a Jink Uger might, or a Anna Kasparian, or whatever the fuck her name is. So anyhow, at least take that clip for what it is. I think it expresses a lot of my anger and disappointment in our fellow Americans, our fellow idiots of America. Look, I'm not saying that you need to be a genius. I'm no genius. We all know that. I say and do some pretty dumb shit, and I need a haircut. I still need my haircut. I think maybe I'm going to do that today. Thanksgiving's coming up. I think I'm going to march my ass down over to Sports Clips and get my fucking haircut today. How's that? But anyhow, M. West says, according to Cook poll numbers, the current difference in popular vote is 2.44 million and continues to reduce by an average of 20,000 daily as counting continues. By the time it's all said and done, who knows? Harris might have won the popular vote. In any case, this is going to go down as one of the smallest margins of victory in presidential history, percentage-wise. This is not a mandate. We got to keep telling them it's not a fucking mandate. I'm just scrolling on down. Let's see. Marie Jean Greco's here. Good to see Marie. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you guys. James Williams, Putin has miscalculated America. The Russian government took the guns away from everyone long ago, so they couldn't resist the military. America is a whole different thing. Well, I got to tell you, even though we have a lot of weapons, if the full force of the U.S. military were turned on the American people, it doesn't matter how many AR-15s you're strapping. Okay, they could vaporize you in a second with the weaponry they have. So, Ichabod Deer says Reagan started the destruction of public education, and we are now witnessing the result of that. Right? That's a good point, Ichabod. That is a good point. Fancy says the farmers are now freaking out, as they should be. I mean, it's going to take a good freak out, maybe, by the American people. We need to freak out. We should be freaking out. And by the way, look, I wanted to add to this meme, but there's like a little meme here. Or maybe I'll make one later. I just want to say, Elon Musk, first of all, you need to be deported. You're an illegal immigrant. You need to be reported and deported. you need to be probably brought up on a bunch of charges. You need to be in jail. But as we know, if you're a billionaire in this country, you're above the law. Apparently, Donald Trump's above the law. This asshole here is above the law. But I would like to make a meme to this photo of Elon Musk. Different than what's on here about how he hates this photo. Whether or not he does, or whether or not that's even an unphotoshopped photo, I don't even know, and I don't even care. Because it makes him look really dorky, doesn't it? But my meme would be, instead of tax the rich, tax that bitch. So, yeah, I just got to let it out. I got to vent. I use this show as my venting place, you know. The Soul Crab says, I encourage those that aren't keeping up to stay home. Of course, they were going to vote Trump. Yeah. Fancy, they're watching Fox News. Yeah, and every time you watch Fox News, your IQ goes down, and that's a fact. That's a fact. They've done studies that people who watch Fox News get dumber and stupider. That's a fact. Another fact is, if you watch this show, you probably stay about the same of whatever you're at. That's another fact. Many studies have been done on the effects of watching the Trucker John live stream. Abe says, let's not forget the ones who did not show up to vote at all. And I've been saying that. What the fuck happened to the extra 15 million votes or whatever that Joe Biden got? Let's see, how many votes is Kamala Harris up to now? So it might not be 15 million, but what is she at? 75 million? And what did Joe get, about 82 or 83? So that's about an 8 million difference. Now I know we've been talking about voter purging. Millions of people being taken off the voter rolls across the country. However many of that was of actual voters, and so I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We've been talking about the bomb threats that were called in that were all from Russia, and they were all to like heavily Democratic areas. How much that affected it, but I don't think any of that adds up to about the extra 8 million votes that Joe Biden got in 2020. Where the fuck were you, motherfuckers? Are those 8 million or so? Are they misogynists? Are they racists? If they are, it seems like they would be Republicans. But I don't know. That's the thing. That is the mind-boggling part, though. Where was that? What the fuck were you thinking? I don't know. What do people think? Last night, speaking of what do people think, I just saw a news report where last night, I guess it was last night, I just saw the clip today. It was from the local Las Vegas news here. I think it was last night, or maybe it was 2 nights ago. I don't know, but whatever. I just saw, like I said, I just saw this thing where an Uber driver was shot and killed last night on the Las Vegas Strip. And apparently, it was they called it a road rage incident. Apparently, the Uber driver got out of his car and went up to the car in front of him and started pounding on the guy's window. I guess, these news reports, they're woefully sparse of details, I think, or whatever. But so I have to fill in the gaps. I know traffic is bad right now. We just had F1. There's still lots of lane blockages, but the Strip is always bad anyhow. Well, not always, but apparently the Uber driver gets out, starts pounding on the guy's window. The guy in the car that he was pounding the window, he takes out a gun and he shoots the guy and kills him. So, talk about stupid. And then everyone wants to blame it on F1. No, that's not F1's fucking fault. That's the idiot driver, Uber driver, that got out of his car and thought he was fucking John Wayne. And they said that the Uber driver did have a gun. But then the report, I hate this vague, I hate reporting. It was reported that his gun had nothing to, did not play in this, it had no play or whatever. So apparently, what that means is that Uber driver never drew his gun, or maybe the gun was still in his car. I don't know. I hate vague reporting. Can we get? And that's what's wrong with news, is talk about low information. Is when they do a news story, it's 45 seconds long, so they only can say so much stuff. But I don't know where I was going. I forget what the point I was trying to make, other than the fact that people do stupid shit. People do stupid shit. You don't get out of the car and pat on someone's window because the traffic's bad, or because that car wasn't moving for whatever reason. And then people in the comments are blaming F1. No, this wasn't F1's fault. It was the Uber driver's fault, who got out of the car and patted on the window. And also, I mean, and they did find the shooter, and they, I guess, arrested him. But hey, man, if you're one of those Second Amendment folks, you're going to be saying that guy had every right to shoot because he's in his car, and then some maniac is pounding on his window. Now, I don't agree that I don't agree that justified shooting, but I could see someone trying to make that argument. I know I got off on that subject. That's sort of a tangent, but I don't know. We are surrounded by maggots and morons, as Nick Rich says. Not that has nothing to do with that story, but AM says, let's not forget the ones who did not show up. Oh, okay, that's where I was at. I was talking about people who didn't show up. Somehow I got on the Uber driver, but where the fuck were they? That's really the main reason I thought Kamala Harris was going to win, because I could not see her losing that much support that Joe Biden had gotten in 2020. And really, Donald Trump's support has stayed almost the same, I think. He gained very little over 2020. It was the Biden voters who voted for Biden in 2020 who did not that they didn't vote for Kamala Harris, they didn't even show up. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy, man. Torvik Cat, some even have family members that have been sexually assaulted and still voted for Trump. Yeah. Shovels here, Simplify. Simplify, motherfucker. William says there's plenty of information out there. There's no excuse. I agree. I guess I agree that there's no excuse, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter if the information's out there. They're not even interested in looking at it. I mean, until it was too late. What I'm saying is they're not even plugged in. If they are watching anything, it's like was it Fancy or somebody said they're watching Fox News. But a lot of these voters, they don't watch any news at all. I think all they do is go on TikTok and watch whatever filters down through the TikTok algorithm, which could be anything. It's weird, TikTok. And if they're on X, forget about it. Forget about it. Speaking of X, yes, I did deactivate my account there months ago. I'm way ahead of the curve on that one. I'm way ahead of Hal Sparks on that one. I deactivated my X account, I think 3 or 4 months ago, if not longer. So I was way ahead of that one. Now I'm on Blue Sky. Last I checked, I think I have 750 Blue Sky followers. So if you guys want to go over there, and if you're on Blue Sky, give me a Give me a follow. The Soulcraft, I'm here, TJ, just cooking, guess what? Eggs. How can you afford that? What are you, like a millionaire or something? You must be like a millionaire. You're actually you're cooking eggs? Wow. Must be nice. Must be nice, Soulcraft. Being able to cook eggs. Shovel says if the info doesn't penetrate their protective right-wing feelings bubbles, it's futile. But I'm not even talking about, necessarily right-wingers. Democrats by and large are going to vote for Democrats. Republicans by and large are going to vote for Republicans. Even though we did see a lot of Republicans, like prominent Republicans, saying that they were going to vote for Kamala Harris. I don't know if that apparently that didn't filter down into the masses. It was just, because they weren't watching. They weren't listening. They probably didn't even know that Dick Cheney said he wasn't going to vote for Trump or whatever. Or they might not even know who Dick Cheney is at this point. A lot of these younger generations. It's like, who the fuck is Dick Cheney? They don't know he was a former vice president and basically ran the country for 8 years. And is a war criminal. Josh says Gibson ain't having it. Yeah, about the cease and desist and all that kind of stuff. Like about Dear Amazing, they ripped off Gibson. M. West, my immediate family is all on board. Nothing to fight about. We should all be so lucky. An actual Friendsgiving with fam. Think about Dear, not only that, the Gibson Les Paul model. Robert Perez, hey, Robert's good. It's good to see you. Robert is here. Robert says, top of the morning to you, driver, and all the trucklers. A hearty howdy do. Howdy do to you, too. Mini Nitrous, TJ, I'm here. Yeah, I said hi. I said hi earlier, didn't I? Good. Hello again. Hello to you. Thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. Oliver Brownlow, he don't know one note of music. Does a billionaire really need to hawk all this shit? A true billionaire. Carolyn Phelps says, family made it? Oh, no, finally made it. I need to get my glasses cleaned or something. Finally made it. I had to restart my phone before it would let me comment in chat. I am here now. Hey, y'all. Hey, Carolyn. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for being here. I'm about 15 minutes behind in the chat, I think. Ichabod Deer says, I met Les Paul. Wow, you met him. A real eccentric dude. Used to play Fat Tuesdays in New York City. Sometimes Jimmy Page would show up, early 1990s. Awesome. That's some awesome memories, that's for sure. Oliver Brownlow says, no more guacamole. Hey, look at their Fancy gifted a membership. Thank you, Fancy. Thank you for doing that. That helps the show. Helps support the show, so thank you for that. And it looks like, Asbjørn Knudsen, who I've seen before in the chat. And so maybe that'll bring Asbjørn back around. But I don't know what's going on. I got a little frog in my throat here. Yeah, there. I got a little Alex Johnson. That's Alex Jones's not relative. Yeah, I got the Alex Jones things going there in my throat right now. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I got some dick pills if anyone's interested. I'm not selling them. I just got some extra ones if anybody wants some. Yeah. Jose Guerrero's here. Hey, what up from Detroit? You're from Detroit, Jose? Jose Guerrero, thanks for being here. Good to see you. Hopefully you like, subscribe, and share the show. Subscribe. Come on back. Big Dog NC is here. Good to see the big dog. Ichabod Deer, I used to follow Farron Cousins years ago. He subbed a few times for David Pakman. Okay. So is he a TYT or not? Maybe he's not TYT. But whatever it is, I've seen him pop up here and there, and I really haven't had any issues with the guy. So that I can remember. Pamela says, I exist on Social Security, but try to buy extra canned goods and other shelf staples if possible. Toilet paper. Are we going to have another run on toilet paper? I don't know. The Soulcraft says, Pam Bondi. was the attorney for Scientology in Clearwater, Florida, where they practically own the town. She is a woman for hire. Let's just say. Josh says TYT has a bunch of good contributors. Jink, still don't know how you get a J sound out of a C sound, but whatever. And Anna soured the whole franchise. They got their money. They're millionaires. Jink and Anna are millionaires. I don't. The rest of them, I don't know. JR, I think, is making some good money. I think Ben, what's his face, tapped out. He's like, I'm out. I haven't seen him on in years. He's probably still getting a cut. He's one of the originals. You know, Ben, what's his face? He always seemed like a good guy, and he was more into reviewing movies, I think, than anything. I think he tapped out a long time ago, took his money, and said, "I'm out." And Jink and Anna, they've just turned into grifters at this point, money grubbing whores at this point. I like calling people whores. I guess I've been doing that a lot lately. Especially when see where is it? This guy? Yeah, this guy. That guy's a whore. Pam Bondi is I like the way I put it. Pam Bondi is a woman for hire. Anyhow, Mindy says just get a bidet sprayer, saves on TP. Yeah, there you go. That's always a good option. Big Dog, I would save money if barbers would charge by the hair. Big Dog, Lindsey Graham wants a mandate. Oh, yes, he does. And nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but Lindsey, come on. If you're going to be a Republican and you're going to be part of a party like that does everything in its power to, take away gay rights and, equality. I'm trying to maybe I should move over a little bit. There you go. Then you deserve to be called out on your hypocrisy, man. Your hypocrisy. Lindsey Graham, you are a hypocrite, sir. Everyone use baby wipes. It cleans your ass better. The only thing with that is that it clogs up the sewer system really, really bad. And even if it says flushable, I've seen videos where, I mean, it's horrible on the whole complete sewer system. So, I guess if you're going to use them, just throw them in the trash. Don't flush them. That's my PSA for today. Don't flush your wipes. Throw them in the trash. Big Dog, I feel smarter by watching TJL Live or TJ Live. TJL Live, that would be like what Hal was talking about, where there's like Chips Patrol. TGL Live would be Trucker John. Well, I guess it wouldn't be exactly. It would be Trucker John live stream live. So it's not exactly redundant. But so that might work. Trucker John live stream live. Because you could watch the live stream on replay. So this would be opposed to that. This would, if you're Trucker John live stream live, it would mean you're watching it live. So I guess it's not the same. I guess I could say TGL Live. And not be violating any, grammar rules or something. Dick Rich, did every vote count? We're trying to get there. Andrew Petrie says, no, they're fucked in the head and didn't see a good thing looking them in the face. And like I said again and again. Well, I don't know exactly. If we're talking about the voters who voted for Biden that didn't even bother to vote, let alone vote for Kamala. I guess that's what we're talking about. When I'm 15 minutes behind on the chat, I have to figure out what was I talking about 15 minutes ago. Ichabod Deer, I went to Vegas once. I will never go back. Ain't going back. Remember that. Remember that? How we were chanting, "We won't go back." Folks, we're going back. I hate to tell you this, but we're going back. We're going back to the Trump administration. And if you thought the first one was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. Robert Perez, that pic of Elon Musk looks like Dr. Evil's son in the end of the third Austin Power flick when he turns bald and very evil. That's funny, Robert. I'm only here for the pretty lights. Look, I've been here almost 5 years. I've gambled twice now. Once about maybe 3 years ago for about 20 minutes just on a machine. I didn't even go to a table or anything because I like to play. Back in the day, I used to like to play blackjack on a real table. We played for about 20 minutes and that was it. And then confession, full disclosure, about 2 or 3 nights ago, I went into this little way off strip casino on Boulder Highway. And it wasn't one of the state. I think it was called, I don't know, Firefox or some bullshit. No, I can't even remember the name of it. But I went in to use the restroom. I needed to use the restroom. So I parked, went in, used the restroom. And I was walking out and I saw a blackjack machine. It wasn't even a table. And I just thought, you know what? I got $5. I think I'm going to play. Maybe I'll just play a few minutes. I'll take a little break. And I play, and literally a few minutes. I think I played for 5 minutes. And I was playing. I was only playing. I think like it was like a nickel a hand or whatever. It was one of those deals. And I played for maybe 5 minutes. I think I lost 50 cents. And then I cashed out. I cashed out and took my $4.50 because I stuck a $5 bill in the thing. And I cashed out. And so that's the extent of my gambling. Just so you know. I mean, I don't know if you guys think I'm some sort of degenerate gambler or whatever, but I've been here almost 5 years. I've gambled twice for about a grand total of 25 minutes. So I lost 50 cents that time. The one from a few years ago, I don't remember if I think I might have stuck a 20 in the machine. We were playing blackjack on a big video machine where all the players play together. It's not like an individual one. Anyhow, I forget if I walked away. I don't think I walked away ahead. I don't remember if I lost the whole 20 or not. Let's just say I did for the sake of argument. So I've lost $20.50 gambling in the last almost 5 years. Just so you know, because I know that. I mean, you guys don't know. When someone tells you they live in Las Vegas, that might conjure up all kinds of images. Like, man, that guy's partying every night, and he's going out to the clubs, and he's gambling, and he's a high roller, and he's playing poker, and he's doing all this stuff. And just so you know, I don't do any of that. I'm pretty much an apartment body. I was gonna say home body. I'm an apartment body. I pretty much just hang out in my apartment until I go out to do Uber. And I need to fix that. I need to get out more as far as like, just going out and hiking, or I would like to maybe get into a pickleball league for old people. I've been thinking about Googling that. I'm sure there must be one that exists. I know they got pickleball things all over the place. But anyhow, think about deer. When I went to Vegas, parking was free in the casinos, hotels. Now they all charge. There's a couple that there are still a couple, but you're right. Almost all of them charge now. You can still get free parking at Treasure Island. And then there's a few others that if you're local, they'll give you like 3 hours or 4 hours free. I think Wynn does that, Resorts World. But yeah, like you say, almost all of them charge now. Like it was free. Even the Strat, which is officially not on the Strip, it's officially just north of the Strip by about a block. That used to be all free. I did a video on that. It got a lot of hits actually. About how this was from like a couple years ago where they just started charging. That was always free. Now that you can't even get free parking on the Strat, for God's sakes. Anyhow, I digress. James Williams says the sad fact is even with 8 million out of 300 million not voting, it should. Okay, look, 300 million people aren't going to be eligible. I don't think. We have approximately 350 or million people. I think even less than that population. So you got to figure. I'm figuring half of those are kids or under 18. But I don't know. I don't have census data in front of me. But let's just say you've got 150 million eligible voters. Now that's a ballpark figure. And if that's the case, I mean, if you had, that doesn't make sense, huh? I don't think my math is right because between Trump and Harris, that's close to 150 million votes right there, isn't it? If they each got 70 something thousand, I mean 70 something million. Is my math not right? What would that be? Let's just say 75 million and 75 million. That's 150 million. And I know we didn't have 100% turnout. What was the turnout? Was it like in the 50s? Did we hit 60% turnout? I don't even know. I don't know. I haven't looked at those numbers as far as the percentage of turnout. But there's 300. We have 300 something million population. You know, if you're under 18, you're not eligible to vote. So exactly how many eligible voters we have, I don't know. I'm sure Nick Rich is busy on that right now. Nick Rich is Googling it right now. I can just see him hitting Google. But anyhow, the point is that we need a higher turnout, but there was a lot of suppression, a lot of things going on. So, but I just don't think it would equal, like I said earlier, the number that fall off from the support that Biden got in 2020 and to the votes that Kamala Harris got in 2024. Even with the suppression and the purging, I don't think it. In other words, she should have gotten those 8, whatever that difference was. She should have got those votes. Anyhow, I don't know. Ichabod says the majority of first-time voters voted for Trump. And I also attribute that, again, Trump has the name recognition. He's been the president. He had the Apprentice show. So these first-time voters, they probably just know him from that. They don't know that they probably don't even know he's a rapist. They don't even know that he's a felon. All they know is that name. He was the president before, and he had a TV show that was, I guess, popular or whatever. And that's why they voted for him. And that Kamala Harris, they might not even know she was the vice president. That's how stupid some of these people are. On Stephanie Miller, they were saying that one of the big Google searches was, did Biden drop out? People are like, that was like the day after the election or whatever, or days after the election. Oh man, it's just so frustrating. But I think when you say the majority of first-time voters voted for Trump, like I said, you can attribute that to that name recognition. And I think if Kamala Harris had maybe even a month or 2 or 3 more months to campaign, that might have made the difference. Because this election, as we're seeing, is so close in the popular vote, in the those big aggregate numbers. I used a big word. If she had a few more months to campaign, it might have broke through, and just enough for her to win. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Jolie says, I wouldn't shoot someone for pounding on my window. Drive away. Not like the traffic is never going to move. So scary. Yeah, I know. I mean, I know. I'm not saying that driver had the right to shoot him, but I'm just saying I could see that making that argument, like, that he was defending himself or whatever. But believe me, right now the traffic is so bad because of the F1 race, and right there at the Palazzo, that's that turn 17, I think, that comes right around from the sphere that goes around, that occurs right onto the strip. And now that the race is over, they have the intersection open, but they have, at least the last couple of nights, most of the lanes are still shut down, so it winnows down to like one lane. So from being this big, wide, boulevard, the strip, they've got it winnowed down to like, one lane or two lanes or whatever on each side. And so the traffic can come to a standstill, and that car might not have been able to drive away. I don't know. That's the thing about the reporting, is it's very vague. They for a story that probably deserves a lot more depth and detail, they shrink it down into a 45-second little, story or whatever. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you would think that okay, someone's pounding on your window. Let's say, okay, if I had a gun, I'm stuck in traffic, I can't move, and some fucking crazy maniac is pounding on my window, and maybe to the point where I'm afraid that the window's going to break, maybe, and I have a gun, I might shoot the guy too, because that's just me, because I'm stupid. I'm stupid that way. If I have a gun, but I think maybe would I have to wait for the window to break before I shot? Or I would probably because here's what I do. When I do this. When I'm sitting in traffic, I do always try to leave myself some kind of an out. And I am always conscientious of, not that someone's going to pound on my window, but just of anything that could happen where I need to have an out. Maybe this goes back to my truck driving too. I mean, you're always looking at signs, you're always looking at lanes, you're always looking at, if something were to happen and I need to jerk the wheel one way or the other, am I going to have enough room to get out, or am I just totally trapped? That kind of stuff does go through my mind when I'm sitting at a red light or whatever. So if I was sitting there, and let's just say I had a gun, I'm not a gun owner, but let's say I had a gun, or I had it in the car with me for some reason, and I'm stuck in traffic, and then there's some guy behind me. Maybe the guy behind me was honking his horn, flipping me off. I don't know. See, that's the thing. It would be nice to have those details in the story that they don't tell. But the guy comes up to my car, starts pounding on my window. I would like to think that I would maybe just tell the guy, hey, calm down. But you never know with me. You guys have seen me. Sometimes I get mad and I yell at people. I mean, sometimes I am very calm. I'm cool. I'm collected. I don't let shit bother me. I could be a peacemaker. I could be someone that would calm someone down. And then other times I fucking flip out. And I fucking go off the handle. So which Trucker John would you get? I don't know. I don't even know. And if I had a gun, see, that's one reason why I don't carry a gun, because I do have that thing in me where I could flip out and go off the handle, half cocked, as they say. So I don't know, man. But as an Uber driver, I know I deal with that traffic every night, every day, and it doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me, the traffic, being stuck in traffic. I don't like it necessarily. I can get a little, maybe, where I'm sitting there and I'm like, whatever. But it doesn't really bother me, like, because I have a lot of passengers. It seems to bother them. and especially the ones that are late for a show that they're trying to get to. But there's nothing I can do about it. And I know if you're not from Vegas and you're a first time visitor, maybe you don't understand. You don't know how bad the traffic can be. You just think it's Vegas and everyone's zipping along. But the traffic, even without Formula One, on especially on a Friday or Saturday night, it can get pretty gridlocked. So I suggest for anyone, if you are in Las Vegas and it's a Friday or Saturday night, or if it's a holiday of some sort, or there's some big event where there's a lot of people in town, and you are on the main part of the strip or anywhere along the strip, anywhere from, let's say, Harmon Avenue, which is the Cosmopolitan in the Bellagio area in Paris and all that, all the way to Flamingo or even Palazzo, where this happened on Sands. If you're anywhere there on a Friday or Saturday night or on a big night where there's lots of people, and you've got a Cirque du Soleil a show you're trying to get to, or a Magic Mike show you're trying to get to, or whatever, and you call the Uber, and it's 15 minutes before the time you're supposed to be seated for the show, you're not going to make it probably. And don't blame the poor Uber driver who's going into that traffic. Okay? It's not the Uber driver's fault that you didn't do a little planning, a little trip planning. Maybe stick your head out the window or look out the window and see what the traffic looks like or whatever. But don't call your Uber 15 minutes before your showtime, and your showtime is on the other end of the strip. And you're going to be sitting in traffic for a half an hour. Okay? I understand. Maybe you didn't understand. You didn't know what the traffic was like in Vegas. But don't blame the Uber driver. It's not the Uber driver's fault. Okay? Let's get that, number one. Let's get that out of the way. It's your own damn fault. You should have left 45 minutes early. You don't leave you got 15 minutes to showtime, and you got to go 2 miles down the strip full of gridlock traffic. And I understand, like I said, people make mistakes, they don't understand, they don't know, but it's not the Uber driver's fault. So you just sit there and you take it. And you just say, it is what it is. The traffic is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no other way around it. Sometimes there are, I've learned a lot of the little side roads, shortcuts, and sometimes you can do that, but not always. There are some places and sometimes where the only way you can go in there is right through that traffic. And you just got to say, it is what it is. And no amount of me hemming and hawing and huffing and puffing or honking my horn or cussing is going to change that. And maybe if that driver that got shot had that mentality, maybe he wouldn't be dead right now. Now, again, I don't know the details of the story because they didn't give him. I don't know what the other driver had been doing other than they were stuck in traffic, or there was traffic in front of the Palazzo. I don't know. Maybe the other driver, maybe they were flipping each other off. Maybe he was brake checking him. I don't know. In any case, none of that justifies a life being lost. Jolie's got my Blue Sky link. Thank you, Jolie. If you want to go in there and give me a like, a subscribe, a share, or whatever you do over there. I guess a follow. But thanks for everyone who's been following me over there. Tim Farrell says, if I get into your Uber, John, should I get in the back or front? Does it matter? I always get in the front and introduce myself with my hand extended. First of all, that's weird. I don't need you to shake hands with me. Number one, though, I prefer people to get in the back. I really do. That's just my personal preference. I don't need you to sit up in front and be my friend, but probably several times a night, or well, it depends, but at least once or twice a night, or maybe more. There will be someone where it's just them. There's no one else, riding in the back. It's just them, and they'll open the front door and they'll say, "Is it okay if I sit in the front?" And I always just immediately say, "Yeah." I'll just say, "Yeah, sure," because it's you know like I say, personally, I don't like it. I think it's a little weird, but that's just me. That's probably just me because maybe I'm a little. I don't think I'm antisocial, but maybe I'm just not super social. I don't know. But whenever they do that, I just say, yeah, sure, whatever you want. I'm pretty cordial. I'm pretty as an Uber driver. I think I'm pretty. I think I'm pretty cool. I'm a pretty cool dude. I think as an Uber driver, and so whenever someone says, "Can I sit in front?" Um, and it's not. Sometimes you get 3 or 4 passengers, and so there's you're going to stuff 3 in the back and 1 in the front. But when it's not that situation, it's just them. Or I've even had where there's 2 people and one guy wants to sit in the front for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe they have some sort of backseat phobia, or maybe I don't know. So, but my first response is like, yeah, sure, go ahead, no problem. I don't care. I've never had one extend their hand to me. I will say that's why I said that's a little weird because I've never had one like get in the seat and hey, I kind of have a no touch policy. No, but I don't mind. I don't care. If you want to sit in the front, sit in the front. Uh, I, it doesn't bother me, but I do, but I always do think like, what's this dude's trip, or whatever. And then I have to go. Then I have to go through my thought process and go, okay, look, he's probably just a sociable person. He prefers being up front. Maybe he doesn't like being like Miss Daisy in the back seat. You know what I mean? Being chauffeured around. Maybe just feel there's a whole thing that people could be thinking. So my first response is always, yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't mind. Let me skip down. I know I'm like 20 gazillion minutes behind in the chat. Let's see. Marcus Mills is here. Hey, Marcus, good to see you. Thanks for joining us here in the old driver's lounge. The Soulcraft says you might like disc golf. Way more fun. I don't even know if they have that around here anymore. I think you know what? I think they do. I think I saw a video, but I think it was up in the mountains. Our good friend Norma Geely. I say good friend because I'm being funny. But I mean, she's a local Vegas YouTuber, content creator. You might want to check her out, Norma Geely. She's really excellent. She does a lot of casino and hotel reviews, restaurant reviews. She does things like around town, fun things to do. Has a great channel. And when I ran into her and Lydia, who is another creator, she does mainly more on Instagram, and they're great buddies, Norma and Lydia. And I ran into them on the very last night that the Mirage Volcano was operating. On the very last night, regularly scheduled nighttime show. I have to emphasize that because then people will come at me and say that wasn't the last volcanic show, because they did do one the next day for like a closing ceremony, but I was there for the very last, like regularly scheduled nighttime, volcano eruption. And lo and behold, who else was there? Lydia and Norma Geely. Anyhow, Norma Geely did a video, I believe, on disc golf, but it was up in the mountains here. We have a mountain range, believe it or not. A lot of people don't even know that Las Vegas, within about a 45-minute drive, we have ski resorts up there. And I think they've got snow up there, and I believe they may have opened some of their runs already. I think I saw a report because they've got snow and they're probably doing man-made snow too, and that they've actually opened some of the lifts, some of the runs. And this is like the earliest, like in a long time, like before Thanksgiving. So anyhow, but they had disc golf up there. There might be other places. I don't know. I don't know. I'm skipping down, so if I skip you guys, don't take it personally. Jolie says, put getting checked for allergies on your list. Trucker John, you seem to be having lots of trouble with runny noses and coughs. Yeah, okay. I do have my pad here. And I have the pen. All right. Number 7 on my list, check for allergies. It's on my list. Fancy, who is Greg Terry? I have no idea. Oh, Ichabod Greg Terry is in Ukraine, a preacher from Pennsylvania. Oh, alien. Big Dog says gambling and lottery tickets are a tax on people that can't do math. Oliver Brownlow, I bought a lottery ticket once, but I didn't win. Now I put $1 in a jar every week, and every year I win $52. That's funny. Pamela says lottery tickets are $2 in Florida. Robert Perez, tell Blue Dot from Texas to call Stephanie Miller again. I thought he was funny when he called her show, but she hung up on him for saying baby. She didn't like the gesture and hung up laughing out loud. I missed that part. I didn't watch the whole show. I only watched about the last hour of the show. The Soulcraft says, I'll play the Golden Tee golf arcade game with the roller thing, laughing out loud. I don't know what that is. Hey, Christina Weibel is here. Says, thank you, Pam. I don't participate in chats mostly because I have to feel it's safe to do so. I feel safe here. Well, Christina, I'm glad you feel safe here. Glad to see you. Thanks for being here, and I hope you like, subscribe, and share. Keep coming back. Keep coming back. I don't know. But thanks for being here, Christina. Good to see you. Let's see. I've skipped down in the chat. I know I'm way behind here. Mindy Nitra says, not a big gambler, but if the moon moves me. Oliver Brownlow says, relax. Now that Trump's in, he will put an end to traffic jams. Right. Christina Weibel says, I watch Legal as Fuck every day. Mark Lamont says, social media and the name Trump are the worst things that have happened to this country. Certainly Trump is, I think. Nick Rich, no excuse for murder. Like I say, the details are a little lacking. I need to know more, but I do believe people have a right to defend themselves. But I don't know if, someone pounding on your window is justifiable. Shooting them is a justifiable response. But I don't think that there's enough details in that report for us to make a judgment either way. They'll have to go to court. Let them go to court and let a jury hear the evidence. Oliver Brownlow, an automobile is not a time machine. Big Dog, exactly. Poor planning on their part that doesn't constitute an emergency on your part. Mr. Spock's here. Hey, live long and prosper. Good luck out there with your chickens. Nick Ridge rides his e-bike everywhere, cheap and healthy. I would like to get me an e-bike. I really would. Big Dog says, record these assholes and play the clips on here. I am thinking. I'm thinking about doing, but I have to get a better camera. It's a whole thing. It's a whole deal. But I am thinking about doing live streams from Uber. But you have to have it. I can't record back into the car. I can only record facing out on to the street, and we can get the audio. But I thought that would be interesting to do. but I can't. In order to keep my job as an Uber driver, I don't believe I can record into and live stream into the car. It has to be. Now I know everyone sees these shows and they go, "Hey, did you see this show? Did you see that show?" I, that's neither here nor there. For me to keep my job as an Uber driver, I can't record. I can't live stream into the car. I can only live stream, outwards the other way. I believe. But I've been thinking about doing that. There's another YouTuber on here. He's a Vegas Uber driver. I've watched him quite a few times. I think his name is Notorious Chaos or Notorious Chaos, and Chaos with like KAOS, I think. And I really enjoy watching. I haven't watched him in a couple of weeks, but prior to that I was watching. I was kind of addicted to watching his live streams as he goes out and Ubers, and he's Ubering all the same areas that I do, and he has all the same stuff that I do. But for some reason, I just found it kind of fascinating. So then I thought, I think I might want to do that. I might try it. So as soon as I get I can't use my phone. I have to use, I have to get a whole new camera. What's that one? There's a camera that you can live stream. You can live stream from the camera, and you can get a little mount. And it has a built-in like a gimbal in it and everything, so it would be perfect. I think for the camera and then all the mounting equipment and everything, it's probably about $1,000. So that's why I haven't done it yet. But maybe next year, maybe sometime next year, I'll be able to do that. Think about dear Uber customers are supposed to get back. No, well, I don't know if there's anything in the rules that state that. I know when Uber first started, when rideshare first started, way back, 10 years ago or whatever. I mean, you could sit in the front, and then when COVID came, that kind of changed things as far as sitting in the front. It was like you were supposed to sit in the back, but now that COVID's over. That I think it reverted back. Oliver Brownlow says, I don't like disc golf. I prefer dat golf. Nick Rich, insurance costs killed my useful need for a vehicle. Pamela says, Trucker John, please take down that picture of Leon. It makes me gag. All right. There you go. I'm only probably 20 minutes behind when you... Actually, I'm about 9 minutes behind. Big Dog says, yay, Trucker just hit 800 followers. Oh, I'm at 800. Thank you for the update. And thank you for everyone who's followed me. Wow. The last time I checked, which was probably last night or something, I think I was at 750 or something. So awesome. 800. Thanks, Big Dog, for that's good news. Ichabod Deer says Vermont's lost over 1.5 months of skiing since the 1970s. Man-made global warming. The Soulcraft says, yeah, Vegas has a few super good courses. They'll put baskets around ski resorts too, because you can chunk great shots down hills. They do like in Vermont, etc. DB Accuracy Meow is here, says check for bird flu. Okay. I'm skipping on down here. Tim Farrell says, where I am, taxi drivers and Uber drivers tend to be new immigrants. It is an entry-level job. I just try to let them know I am a friend and an ally and sit in front with them as a goodwill gesture. Well, you're a very sweet person, Tim. You sound like a very sweet person. And I appreciate it. Like I said, if someone says they want to, if they ask if they can sit in the front, my first response is, yeah, sure, go ahead. No problem. Extending your hand to shake my hand, I think that no one's done that. I can't remember anyone doing that. And I would shake their hand, I'm sure. But in my mind, I'd be thinking like, this is kind of weird, But I would still do it. Andrew Petrie, Chaos, Roger Waters. Yeah, the guy who does that, I think the name of his channel is Notorious Chaos. He doesn't put the periods in between. But I do believe he spells it that way. I believe he spells it Kaos. And he does just about every night or day. He does Uber. He does live streams while he's Ubering, and it's all pointed out the windshield. He doesn't do anything pointed back at the rider. It's all pointed out the window, and you can hear the audio. So if they have conversations, that's all on there. But I already have stickers on my car that says you may be recorded because Hertz, that's who I rent through. I guess as directed by Uber, maybe, I don't know, but they've been installing these reverse dash cams that record back into the car. So there's a dash cam there. So they put stickers on the car now that says you may be recorded. So that's all. So as far as I'm concerned, if I had my own camera and I'm pointing out to the street and we pick up their audio, I've already got the stickers that say you may be recorded. So I think I would be in the clear. Mr. Spock says you should get an e-trike, TJ, hookup trailer with a seat for 2 people, the EV rickshaw. Well, we do have here in Vegas that they're not well, you know what? I was wondering if they were e-trikes. But they do have these trikes and they have them rigged up to take riders, like some of them I've seen them stuff 3 or 4 people on those things. And I was wondering, and most of those guys are kind of fit, healthy-looking guys. Even if they're kind of old, they're in pretty good shape, and they're pedaling their asses off. And I was wondering if they have e-trikes, and if they don't, why wouldn't they be using them? Because from what I could tell, they're not e-trikes, the ones that are here in Vegas. Maybe there's a law against using the e-trike or something. I don't know, but they do have a bunch of those, and they are kind of a pain in the ass because they'll get into a travel lane, and even though they're pedaling their asses off, they're still way slower than a car, and they can really slow up traffic. And even though they put lots of these colorful lights on them to be visible, sometimes you still don't see them very well at nighttime. The Soulcraft says GoPro. I have one on my helmet. Oh, GoPro. Yeah, I could use a GoPro, but the one I was thinking of is GoPro would be good, or the pocket cam. They call it the pocket camera, and you can get mounts for those, and you can go live right from that camera. I'm not sure. Can you do a YouTube live right from a GoPro? I guess you could. I guess you can, huh? I don't know. Hey, look at there. We got Big Dog NC with a $4.99 super chat. Says tip towards a front inside view card camera. Now you just need $995. Thanks, Big Dog. That's so nice of you. Thanks for that super chat. Yeah, we'll put that in the fund. We also have Buy Me a Coffee, where I've got a fund there to upgrade the show, get better equipment, things of this nature. Mr. Bob Newell, here's Strugger John. You're a little late, Mr. Bob Newell, for the Here's Strugger John. You're a little bit late, at least over an hour late, Mr. Bob Newell. Oliver Brownlow says some drivers use the front passenger seat as a desk. I've never had that. happen. Josh, sit, shake, good driver. Mr. Bob Newell, how about some Uber talk? The Soulcraft says, anyone mess with your music, or can you play music with passengers in the car? I always have some music playing. I've had a couple of times, not very often, where someone wanted to use my Bluetooth to play their music, and I tell them no, because I also have my phone. That's where I use my Uber app, and I don't want to mess around with Bluetooth and fumble around. And I'm using the Uber app, to use the navigation and to get my next ride and all that shit. So I'm just like, no, I'm using that for the app. But if I'll say, is there something you'd like to listen to? Because I usually have it on. It could be classic rock. It could be alternative rock. It could be just hits of the like current hits, like pop hits, and it'll play, Beyonce or whatever. And they'll say, yeah, I really want to hear. I don't know. It'll be some rapper I don't know or whatever. And I'll say, okay, I'll just say, I'll just ask Siri. I'm afraid to say it, but I'll just, I'll just say, hey, that name, and it starts with an S, and I'll say, play Rumpelstiltskin or whatever the fuck it is they want. And if they have a particular song, and I'll say the name of the song, and then it'll play, and they seem to be really happy with that. And then it'll either play, depending on how long the ride is, it might play more of that artist, or it might play something from that genre for a while. And if it's something I really don't like, as soon as they get out, I'll just go right back and I'll say, hey, S, person, play my rock station again, please. And it'll go, playing rock station. But so that's how that works. But no one has gone on and like tried to touch shit or whatever. Hey, there's Seha. Good to see Seha here in the chat. Seha says the best reason to record the cab of your cab is for your safety. I know, that's why I have that. I know exactly why. Safety, believe it or not, I broke more arms while I was a cab driver than I ever did in the military. Of course, no Uber Cash is smart. Yeah, that's why they installed the dash cams pointing back towards the inside of the car. But I will say, and I say this at the risk of jinxing myself, I have never had any incidences. I mean, I've had a few people that were maybe a little rude, or maybe they had too much to drink, or maybe they were losing too much at the tables, and they seemed maybe a little tiny bit rude, or a little just not, real, I don't know, friendly or whatever. But that stuff doesn't really bother me. And I've had a few people that were a little too drunk, but I just, I chalked that up to being drunk. I've been there, been back in my drinking days. I'm sure I was an asshole to many, many people. So, but I've really never had anything of consequence. And knock on wood, I don't want to jinx myself. Seha says, Josh, laughing my ass off. Thanks for the visual. Trucker John pulling a rickshaw. Jolie says, Trucker John has membership super chats. You can support the show by liking, subscribing, and sharing. And you can also buy me a coffee over there at buymeacoffee.com. Thanks for posting that, Jolie. D. Meowcracy Meow says, where's the buy me a beer button? I don't know. Do they have that? I don't know if they have that option on there. They probably should, huh? D. Meowcracy Meow Andrew Peach 8% alcohol beer. Give me some of that. Christina Weibel says, I'm helping my dad with his laundry today. He's 84, and I help when I can. Well, bless you. Bless your heart. And I don't mean that. See, that's the thing. People have now made that expression, bless your heart, to be like a pejorative or something. And sometimes I say it, and I'm sincere. I just want you to know that. It's not always a pejorative. It's not always sarcasm or whatever, Let's see. Robert Perez says, God bless you, Christina. Big Dog says, if I did Uber, I'd have to put up a sign telling folks I'm hearing impaired, so hopefully they won't talk to me. And I believe on the app, there isn't, you can go, if you're a driver, and you can go into settings, and you can put on there, so when they see your driver profile, you can put something on there that explains that. So provided that they read the profile, which is not always a guarantee. You know how people are. But you could put that in there. DMeowski Meow says, yikes, cheaper than a bar, though. Also, Canada money. What's the exchange rate in dollar these days? I didn't know. Andrew Petrie, John, an asshole. No. Sayhouse says, yeah, everybody knows a taxi is a rolling bank bag made you hyper aware as a cab driver. As old as Zen, I'm packing to visit my grandma for Thanksgiving. She doesn't have the internet ideas on what I should download. You could download a bunch of Trucker John videos. I have over 1,200 of them. But hey, as old as Zen, thanks for being here, by the way. Good to see you. Steven Sayer says, rudeness, never heard of. The Soulcraft, I'm curious about the Uber hiring process, but I'll Google it. I always thought I might like Uber Eats, better not having to have people in my car. The thing about Uber Eats, I think I don't think you make nearly as much money as an Uber driver. But yeah, just go on the Uber app and you can find a link to lead you to the Uber driver app, and you can lead you to a link to what you need to do. What you do is you go through a background check, you go through your driving record check, and so they do these background checks. I guess it takes about a week. They'll get back to you if everything checks out. Then you have to submit. They'll say, okay, you're good now. What vehicle are you going to use? If you're going to use your own vehicle, then you have to give them your vehicle information. If that checks out, then they will set up. During COVID, they were doing like online inspections where they could do it online, but at least here in Vegas, that they've gone back to doing in-person inspections. And here in Vegas, they have a couple. They have at least one place where you can go. Because I did that once last year when I bought a Toyota Prius, and so I know at least that was like a little over a year ago. And I had to go and do it in person. They just inspect it. They check out your registration and your insurance, and then they have you turn like headlights on and turn signals and your emergency flashers. They have you roll down the windows and roll them back up. Just make sure that shit works and it's not like a total beater type of a thing, and it's in good operating condition. And then you pass that inspection, and then they transmit that info onto the app back to Uber headquarters, and then you're good to go. So you have to have a good drive. Supposedly, you have to have a good driving record, and you have to have pass a criminal background check, I guess, and a driving record background. And your vehicle has to meet a criteria. It has to be insured and all that kind of stuff. Now, if you don't have a vehicle like me that would qualify, then you can rent. And there's another link where you can go and you can rent, and that's what I've been doing. And those vehicles that's why you have to go. You can't just rent any old car and do it. That's why you have to go through their link, and which takes you to whatever rental agency they're using in your area. It's probably Hertz, and then there are some online ones, at least on the app here. There's like these other ones that I tried, and they were all flaky to me. I never liked them, but they do have Hertz, and that's what I've been using is Hertz. And those vehicles are already pre-inspected. They're already in the Uber system. So as soon as you rent it, you don't have to go to inspection because it's already inspected. They're already insured. They're already registered, and all that. So you just pick up the car, and Hertz puts that in the system on when you do the contract, and then you're good to go. Sayhouse says, Trucker John, have you watched the deal that I guess Uber and Lyft drivers are paid different amounts for the same distances because they are skimming money from drivers? Yeah, I've heard all that shit, and I don't really get caught up in that. I just do my thing. Hey, look, I'm a semi-retired Well, maybe if I was younger and I was going to try to make this into some sort of lifelong career, maybe I'd give a fuck. I'm an old, semi-retired driver. I'm just doing this for extra money. I don't know. That's somebody else's battle, I guess. I don't know. Soulcraft, so like no extra insurance. That's what I was worried about. Yeah, you have to have, I guess, your auto insurance, and then, but Uber does offer an extra insurance that you can buy, and it's really cheap. I have it that just covers everything. Like if you got into a wreck, and it would cover your passengers, and it would cover yourself for injuries and stuff like that. And it's really, I think it's optional if I remember, and it seemed like really cheap, so I have that. Aaron West says, I just fired Uber Eats. They started calling me a liar when I complained things were missing from my orders. That sucks. Andrew Petrie, Trucker John, can you rent a limo? No. For Uber? No. You would have to go through the link on their site, on the Uber app, the Uber driver app, and then you see the options. And I've never seen limo. All there is basically EVs and gas-powered cars that are just like regular sedan type cars, and some small SUVs, I guess. I'm trying to remember if there's any bigger SUVs, but I've never seen limos. But like if you owned your own limo, like maybe that's what the thing is. If you owned your own limo, then it has to be, if you want to do like premier rides and comfort rides, then it can't be older than 6 years old. If you're doing just Uber X, it could be as old as 15 years old. So you probably could, if that's your own vehicle and it meets that age requirement, and everything works, the headlights work, the taillights works, the blinkers work, the windows roll up, and the doors are they work, so you have all points of egress, all that kind of shit, and it's not all banged up and looks like shit, then you probably could, if it's your own limo. But there's no limos available like to rent or anything like that. But that's I think you could, but you can't rent them. Yeah, you can't rent them, because that was your question. Can you rent one? I've never seen that available in there on the renting a vehicle link on the app. But if you owned your own, maybe you could. But yeah, renting, I don't believe so. Oliver Brownlow says Trump will do away with all those regulations and let anybody be an Uber driver. We'll see. Mr. Spock, my Uber Eats is my moped. The Soulcraft says, yeah, I'll see cars in downtown Nashville that have both Uber and Lyft. Yeah, there's a lot of drivers who do that. You're not supposed to do that. Uber says that I don't know what Lyft does, but Uber says that that's not allowed. And if they found out about it, I guess they could block you from the Uber app, essentially firing you. But drivers do it all the time. I don't do that. I'm not interested in getting either two phones or going back and forth. It's just too much of a hassle. I make enough money. I think I stay busy enough with Uber. I think the only reason you would do it, because I'm sure Lyft has like bonuses, just like Uber has all these little bonuses where if you do so many rides, you get a bonus. If you do this, you do that, you get bonuses. And so I guess for these really, I would call them greedy, but they would probably think of themselves as just being, resourceful, go-getters or whatever, but trying to milk every dime out of every little thing that they can. So I guess you would go back and forth to try to get all the bonuses maybe that are offered, and that's a good thing. If that's what you're into, that's what you want to do. then go have at it. I don't, but I don't do that. Like I said, I'm an old 64-year old, like semi-retired dude, and it pretty much takes all of my energy just to get my ass out of the apartment, just to go do 5 or 6 hours or 7 hours of Ubering at the most. I don't really do more than 7 hours in a shift. And a lot of these guys and gals are doing 10-hour days, 12-hour days. You're allowed, believe it or not, I think up to 16 hours, which I think is fucking crazy. I don't think that should be allowed. You want a guy who's been driving 16 hours a day? I mean, that's fucking, you want to be a passenger in that guy's car? That's crazy. But a lot of them are doing 12 hours a day, I bet you. And they're making good money. They make a lot more money than I make. And if I were younger and had more energy, I would probably do, I'd probably do at least 8 hours, 8 to 10 hours a day, probably. But I just find it incredibly, I don't know, I just get really bored of it. And so the most I can muster is about 7 hours. I think I've gone 8 hours a few times. I probably average more like 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours is my average. But here in Vegas, with Uber doing where I can do premieres and I can do comforts, and they pay a little bit more than the Uber X. I probably average, at least 30, $35 an hour. So anyhow, Say How says Struggle John, I hear you. Was an interesting story. Was all. Say How says some people do funny YouTube videos and Uber in stupid ass cars like Lamborghinis. Not gonna make a profit with gas insurance. Big Dog says, do you need a chauffeur's license? No, you don't. At least not here in Vegas and Clark County. You do need a Nevada state business license, which I have, and you need a Clark County. It's sort of like an operator's permit. It's kind of like another business license. All you need is those two things, and you just re-up them every year. They're like $50 a year or whatever, and that's all you need. And plus, Uber checks that you have a valid driver's license and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you don't need a chauffeur, like a special chauffeur's license. You don't need a class. What are the chauffeurs? Is that a class B or whatever, or is it a class C with a special designation? I forget now. But you don't need that. If you were driving a limo, maybe. Like, because someone asked earlier about the limo. If you were gonna, let's say you have a limo laying around, and you're like, hey, I want to put this to use, and you try to do that with Uber. For one, I'm not sure. I don't know for sure if Uber would let you do it. Like I said, I don't know for sure, but I think maybe I just said, if it passed inspection, you could, but I don't know 100. I'm not 100% sure about that. And then, since it is a limo, I don't know. That's a good question. If you would need a chauffeur's license if you're driving a limo and doing Uber with your limo. I've never seen anyone do it, so that's why I don't know. And I've never driven a limo or had a chauffeur job or anything like that, so I don't know. But that's a good question. So if you were thinking about doing something like that, you would definitely want to find out, right? Do your due diligence, as they say. Enterprising, yes, Oliver Brownlow. That was the word I was trying to. Enterprising. That was I was searching. You saw me groping for the word there. Andrew Peachy, Mr. Spock. I bet the horsey drivers get $100 tip. Mr. Spock. Last time Lynx took me to the Beaver Dam. Andrew Peachy smoking a joint at the dam, and the neighbors on horses scared Lynx away like they posed out of nowhere. Poked out of nowhere. I think you meant popped out of nowhere. But anyhow, Tamara Price says, see everyone next time, have yard work to get done, and I'm really tired. All right, Tamara, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us. So make sure that you do that. I was just, as I was sitting here, I was thinking, I wonder if I should do an afternoon show because I believe there's no Hal Sparks today. He's doing his show down there at the Whiskey A Go Go, and so no show. I might do an afternoon show. I might do an impromptu. So be on the lookout, you guys. Hit that notification bell button thingy. I might do an afternoon show just for shits and giggles. Say how chauffeur license requires a CDL. So that would be a like I know as a truck driver, I had a Class A. I don't think chauffeurs are Class A, or if it is, it would be a different designation as an 18-wheeler. It would be, and that's why I was thinking it was Class B or something like that. The slow crap, but say how you were a taxi driver, maybe, so you probably know more about that than me. The Soul Craft says I'd have to jam the Deftones cover of The Chauffeur and their song Passenger. W. Maynard from Tool. I don't crank the music. I keep the music pretty kind of low when the passengers are in the car, and then if they want me to turn it up, I'll turn it up. Or if I can, sometimes you hear they'll start singing along to the songs, and I'll kind of turn it up a little bit, or I'll say, "Hey, you want me to turn it up?" And they'll say, "Yeah, turn it up." But I started off as being low. I'm not going to presume that anyone likes my music or that they even want to listen to music. I've been an Uber passenger, and I've always been kind of turned off if I get into a car and the music is blaring, especially if it's some music I don't like. I've always thought that was kind of rude of the driver to just really have it blaring really loud. My hair, I need a haircut. So I keep it kind of low where it's just back in the background playing. And then you can kind of get the vibe of the people and what their mood is. And if they want to turn it up, I'll turn it up. And if not, it'll just be playing in the background. It's not, the way I look at it, this is not a party car. This is just ride share. This isn't the party bus. I know you're thinking, "No, you're no fun, Trucker John." But really, at the end of the day, it's just me trying to get as many rides as I can in my 6 hours that I'm going to be doing. And no matter what, it seems like it averages out to 3 rides an hour. It doesn't matter how much I hurry. It doesn't matter if the traffic is light or traffic is heavy. It doesn't matter if it's all short trips up and down the strip. It doesn't matter if I'm doing some longer trips out to the outskirts. It always averages out to 3 rides an hour. 3 rides an hour is what it averages out to. No matter what. And I've been doing this for going on 2 years in February. It'll be 2 years. Demi Arnstein mail, who did the grope? I have no idea what that's about. Andrew Petrie, can we all get Trucker John a cheesy Joe Rogan neon sign? Would it say Joe Rogan? Do I have to have Joe Rogan sign? I would rather that the sign just said cheesy. Say it says Class B A bus driver still needing a CDL. Right, but the class is different. Say it says a Biff ass limo, kind of like a bus. Gotta go out and know your shit, not to cause crashes. Yeah, I agree. Josh says, do you ever get smelly, unbathed passengers? Not really. I haven't, but I'm trying to think. I mean, I know I picked up some people, that are workers and they've worked all day and they've had a long day at work and everything. But I don't remember ever being like going oof, oof. But there has been, I know at least once, and there's probably more than once, people that are really super heavy pot smokers. And you pot smokers in the audience, you're going to love this. Not even cigarette smokers. I haven't really noticed real heavy cigarette smokers like smelling the car up. But I had a group, this was a couple of months ago. It was it 3 or 4 people? Because I know one person sat in the front. There was at least 2 in the back. I think it was just 3 people because they were all kind of big, heavy-set people. Apparently, they smoked a lot of weed because as soon as they got in the car, you could smell the fucking weed. They weren't smoking, they weren't smoking anything. It was on their bodies. It was on their clothes. It was in their hair. They smelled like a fucking ganja den or something. I don't know. And one of the stops, this was a 2-stop because you can do multiple stops in case you didn't know that. And their first stop was to a dispensary, lo and behold. So I took them to the dispensary. The 2 people in the back, they stayed in the car. The person in the front went into the dispensary to buy a bunch of, weed products, marijuana products or whatever. And then they did that. And then I took them to their next stop. I forget if it was right back, because sometimes they do a thing where you just go right back to where they were. But whatever, I took them to I remember I took them to the Tuscany Hotel. And remember the reason I remember that, because one of them ended up leaving their phone in the car, and I ended up having to take that back to them. And they didn't even tip me, motherfuckers. Usually, now the thing is, I since they called Uber, and then Uber gives them a number to call me and notify me. So Uber knew about it. So Uber did give me a finder's fee or something like that. I think it was like $20 or I forget what it was, 20 or something bucks. But usually the people who leave a phone, they are so grateful to get their phone back that I've been paid anywhere from $20 to $100. And I don't put a price on it. I don't say anything. I just give them the phone, and if they want to tip me, they tip me. And every single time, except for these folks, people have tipped me. Like I said, anywhere from $20 to $100 I've been tipped for returning the phone. These folks, not these cheap bastards. Anyhow, they smelled so bad on weed that, and then I dropped them off. I got another call in. It was pretty close by, and I just went, and I didn't really think about it. If I had thought about it, I would have rolled all the windows down and tried to get it to air out between my next pickup. But the call came in. I just went over and picked these guys up, and I didn't really even think about it. And they get in the car, and this one dude gets in, and I didn't like him right away. He had been probably a little bit overserved at dinner. He was a little bit drunk in that he, even sober, you could just tell this is the kind of guy that can't shut up. This was the kind of guy who runs his mouth and thinks he's funny and tries to be like the funny guy who's always on, doesn't have an off button. That's what this guy was. And then plus he was a little bit drunk, on top of that. So the first thing he does, he gets in the front seat. He gets in and he kind of looks at me and he goes, "Whoa, someone's been smoking in here." Okay, first of all, I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes, and I don't smoke pot. And I sure as fuck don't smoke in my car. There's no smoking allowed in that car. I do not smoke in that car. Now, granted, he doesn't know me from Adam, but I took offense to that. But I didn't, yell at him or anything like that. I just, then I realized as soon as he said that, I realized, oh shit, the people from my previous customers, they fucking stink this car up with their fucking weed body smell. so they're getting in the car, we're taking off. I'm looking at the thing to see what their destination is, or all that sort of stuff. You look at the thing, and then he says the thing like, "Oh, someone's been smoking in here," and he's like looking at me like I'm the fucking smoker. And I felt like saying, "Fuck you, motherfucker! I don't smoke," but I didn't say that. Did I say that? No, I didn't say that. I just said I don't smoke, and I go, "That wasn't me." And he's like, "Oh, I'm not." And then he says it like in a way that like I'm lying. Because he goes, "Oh, I'm not putting any blame. I'm not blaming you, or I'm not accusing you of anything." And I just go, "Look, dude, I don't smoke. I've never." And he goes, and he's like, "You don't have to explain yourself or whatever." And I got, "No, you don't." And I'm like, "No, you don't get it. I don't smoke. Okay, that wasn't me. I don't smoke in this car." And he's like, "Okay, well, whatever, man, whatever." And I'm like, "No." Then I was like, "No, fuck you. If the smoke is too much for you, you can get out." And he's like, "Oh, no, I didn't mean anything. I didn't mean anything." And I go, "No." I look, and then I go, "Look, the last people I had in here, they smoked the high heaven on weed. They were the ones that spunk this car up, not me." And then he's like, "Okay, sorry, man, sorry." And then I didn't say another word for the rest of the trip because I knew that I knew if I said anything more, it was going to get ugly. Because this guy annoyed me from the very second he got in the car. The very second he got in the front seat and he looks directly at me and says, "Whoa, someone's been smoking in the car." That pissed the fucking shit out of me because I do not smoke. I've never been a smoker my entire fucking life. And I do not smoke in the car, obviously. And then when I tried to explain myself, he still acted like he didn't believe me. That pissed the shit out of me. And I was this close from stopping the car and telling him to get the fuck out of my car. It was that close. So instead, I just literally bit my tongue. Sometimes I do that. That expression, biting your tongue? For me, it's not just an expression. Sometimes I've done this in front of DOT officers and state troopers out on the road in my 18-wheeler. I'm literally biting my tongue. I'm literally like, just so I don't say something stupid that's going to get me a ticket or God knows what extra added on to something. So I literally, the rest of the trip, did not say a fucking word. Gave the motherfucker the silent treatment, and I shut the app off so that I didn't get more riders, so that I could drive around. I rolled all the windows down, and I just let it air out for a few minutes, and that did the trick. I didn't, and I know sometimes you guys are talking about getting OZM and all that kind of shit. That would have been a good thing to have, but really rolling down the windows and driving around for about 5 minutes, after that, because I did smell it before. I just didn't realize how bad it was, how strong it was, especially coming in for another rider who'd been sitting outside in the fresh air, and then they get into that. I didn't really think about all that, but driving around with the windows for 5 minutes, that did the trick. But, so anyhow, as far as stinky BO, I really don't remember any. Just stinky weed people. Seho says, Nick Rich, that's cookie weed, boil the shit out of it with a pound of butter, make cookies. Christina Weibel says, in Florida, we've voted to legalize marijuana, but DeSantis raised the threshold vote to 60%. 57% of voters voted to legalize it in our state. Also, 57% of voters voted yes on question 4. Yeah, I remember that. That was the big thing about the abortion rights issue. Yeah, I remember that. The Soul Crab says, I just bought some used cases of drums, and they reeked of weed. He must have kept his stash in them. Wow. Hey, there's Tanya Johnson. Hello, Tanya. Thanks for being here, by the way. Tanya says, is it very safe for females to be Uber drivers? You know what? There's a lot of Uber drivers. There are females, and I actually had a nice conversation with an Uber driver who was a female. We were both waiting at the dispensary while our customers were inside the dispensary, and we were parked side by side, really close. And she sat in her car, I sat in mine. We rolled the windows down, and we were talking. And because sometimes I like to, whenever I have another conversation with another Uber driver, I like to pick their brain a little bit, see how they operate, what hours are the best hours, or what do they do. So we were having a conversation, and I remember she mentioned something about like she doesn't like to go at night, and she doesn't. There's a certain neighborhood she doesn't go into, and these were all related to her. The way she phrased it. I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was because she's a woman, and there's been other women drivers that I've heard that express that things that I never even really think about. Just as being a guy, I don't even think about it. Not because I'm some Superman. I'm not Chuck Norris or whatever. I'll get my ass kicked just as easily as anybody. But still, I've just gone through life where I don't think about those things too much. I mean, that doesn't mean that. Sure, there are certain areas where you're like, I don't want to break down in this neighborhood, stuff like that. But for the most part, you just kind of go through your life, and unless you're in a really, really bad, shitty part of town, like I wouldn't want to be going through parts of South Central LA or whatever, being a white guy, just walking by myself. I'm not that naive and stupid. There are things that you think about, but generally, overall, I don't really think about that because I'm a guy. I mean, I might think of a security issue or a safety issue just that is there for everybody, but it's not specific to me being a guy, right? And there are lots of women that they have to think about that, because they, there's a lot, statistically or whatever, most women are smaller and not as strong as a lot of guys. I'm not saying there aren't strong women that are stronger than some guys, but overall, there are a lot more guys that are physically bigger and stronger and can overtake a woman. So there is that fear, and it's a real fear. But I guess you do like what she did. Don't work areas that you think are safer, work hours you think are safer. I would carry some mace or something. I would carry, and having the dash cam that records inward, I think that helps. And if you just feel too scared to do it, I guess you can't do it. But it's a consideration. It is it's a real fear. It's a legitimate fear. Unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with. That women have to feel afraid because of rapey, abusive men, basically. Tawana 106, I don't do tree, but I do care what other people do. It's none of my business. Hey, Tawana 106, by the way. Tawana 106 is here. Good to see you. Mr. Spock says, an old job I used to have to solve the looking like you're stoned thing. I just stayed stoned all the time. That's pretty funny. Seyo says, Mr. Spock, my only grams of weed couldn't hammer. The gram was the shit they call. Okay, I'm not reading it. I can't meander through that. Jolie says Uber allows women to choose to only drive other women. Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't see that, but yeah, that's pretty cool. If that helps, yeah, do that. The Soulcraft says at least we all have phones in us. The days of finding a phone booth after breaking down sucked. Yeah. Now it's just like if if you break down in an area that has bad service or something. That would suck. Tim Farrell, if I go to Vegas, sitting in the back, don't speak and hope for the best. Don't mention music or odors. Tim, no, you do you, Tim. You can sit in the front. If you stick your hand out to shake it, I would shake your hand. I might be thinking you're a little off, but I will still, but that's on me. That's on me. I'll still shake your hand. And you can talk. I have lots of chatty passengers that love to chat. There's some that don't. You just have to pick up on the vibe. And there's some you can tell they go right to their phone. They start texting or they're doing that. So they don't really want a conversation necessarily. But if there are chatty ones, I've had some really, really, really great conversations with some of my passengers. I've had some really great conversations. So I'll chat you up. And if you can mention the music. I'm just not going to play your music through my Bluetooth. But if you want to listen to Hank Williams, I'll say, hey, SIRE or SIRI, play Hank Williams or whatever, whatever you're into. We'll listen to your shit while you're in there. And if you want to mention the odors, don't get in the car and in 0.5 seconds look right at me and say, someone's been smoking, and imply that I was the one smoking. And then when I say, no, that wasn't me, that was the previous customers that smelled that way, but no one was smoking in here, and I don't allow smoking. Don't patronize me and say, oh, I wasn't saying that you were smoking, whatever. Don't do that. Tony Johnson, you're welcome. Thank you for being here, by the way. Thanks for being here. Robert Perez, Seha, what is that picture next to your name? Tawada 106. Tawada 106 is playing all the smooth jazz. That sounds like a smooth jazz station. Tawada 106, smooth jazz. Here in Tokyo. It is bad in Japan, too, on the trains. They constantly get groped? Really? How did we get into the groping thing? Anyhow, Andrew Petrie says, I date women that can handle their own Accord. Accord, Civic, Prius, whatever. Mr. Spock, last 5 years there was a crew chief loading aircrafts. The station boss said I needed to put more info into the flight log. I'd put no problems, so I'd put offloaded, loaded flight, no problems. Sayal says Robert Perez, Amino et Fide means courage and faith. 1st Armored Division, 1st Cavalry. I don't know what the 1 is, but Cavalry Line Unit, most highly decorated unit in U.S. Army, my unit. Awesome. Thank you for your service, Sayal. Thank you for your service. As Old as In says, Trucker John, will you think we're a little off if we happen to be fans of your show? That's a prerequisite. I think you have to be a little off, yeah, to be a fan of the show, and in a good way. As Old as In, you're funny. Robert Perez says, that's what I thought it was. My brother was stationed at something, Squaback, in West Germany back in the 70s. Oliver Brownlow, you can't stop the music. Nobody can stop the music. Josh, do they have Screwber for sex workers? Maybe? Is that a drum sting? James Williams, I remember flying and smoking cigarettes during the flight. Some of those aircraft still have ashtrays and are still in service. Times and our tolerance have changed a lot. And also the fact that I don't want to get cancer from the secondhand smoke. Thank you very much. Andrew Petrie, Hank Williams III. He's crazy. He's crazy. Jolie says, John's still so mad about being accused of smoking weed. This isn't the first time we've talked about it. Really? Did I talk about this before? It's not that I was accused of smoking weed. It's that the guy got right in and got kind of like looked right at me and was like, "Whoa, someone's been smoking in this car." And first of all, no one was smoking. I want to make that clear. Not even the passengers. They were not smoking. I do not allow smoking. I don't even allow vaping. And people will say, it's just a harmless vapor and it smells like cherries or something like that. I'm like, nope, sorry, can't do it. Not allowed. That's the thing that upset me. No one was smoking in the car. It was just those fucking people that I had before apparently smoked so much goddamn weed that it fucking defiled my car. And the guy looks at me, that I'm the one that gets looked at like I'm the one smoking. I don't go for that shit. And the reason I'm so touchy about it, I think, is because way back when I was a young man, early 20s or something, I had a job, a construction job, where I was, it was for a, I worked for a fire, it was a fire sprinkler company where we installed fire sprinklers. And I had worked my way up to where I was I was kind of like a foreman, or not really a foreman, but I was kind of would lead a crew. And one day I took the crew out for pizza. We were doing a job up in like Lake Arrowhead or something, or Big Bear. And I took the crew out for pizza. And everyone was like, "Whoa, John's all rich or whatever." Oh, yeah. And I think I forget if I made the joke or someone made the joke that I was taking the money out of petty cash, because we had petty cash. It was a little bag of petty cash, and it would have, I don't know, I don't remember how much. It could have a few $100 in there, just in case something comes up. You're out on a job, you need to go get some supplies or something at a hardware store, or you need to go. There was something that would come up, and you might have to do something. And someone made the joke that I was using petty cash, and then I think they said it, and I just played it off. I just laughed like, "Oh yeah," but I didn't use petty cash. I used my own fucking money. But someone had made that joke that I was using I was paying for the pizza. I bought the guys some beer or sodas, whatever they wanted. I think it was like a 4-man crew. It wasn't like a lot of people, and we bought a couple of pizzas because we had some time, and they'd been working hard, and we were doing this big job. So I thought, hey, we'll just take a little break, and we'll have a nice pizza or whatever. And so someone made that joke about, oh, I must have been using petty cash. Ah, yeah, right. And I wasn't. I used my own money. One of those assholes went at some point, I guess that night or whatever, went to the boss's house and told him John bought us all pizza today and used petty cash. So the next morning, I go to work. I'm fired. And I'm like, what the fuck? And the boss says, you can't use petty cash for that. That's only for buying lunch or whatever. That's not what petty cash for. And I go, what the fuck? At first I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes like, blah, 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 so-and-so. He told me what you did. I'm like, fuck him. I didn't use petty cash. He goes, and then he's like, shuts the door in my face. Or whatever. He tried to shut the door. I think I stopped it. And he's like, just get out of here. I'm going to call the cops. And I'm like, I did not use petty cash. Look at the petty cash. Is there anything missing from the petty cash? There's nothing missing out of the petty cash bag. I used my own fucking money. And he goes, look, it's all. He goes, look. He goes, you could have just replaced it. You can't take the money out and then replace it later or something like that. I'm like, fuck you. I didn't do that. And so anyhow, the guy ends up shoving the door and in my face. It tells me to get the fuck out of there. He's going to call the cops. After I had been working there for over a year, worked my way up in there to this sort of leadership position, and that's how I get treated, because this other guy who was kind of a new guy, he wanted my job. That's what it was, and he ended up getting my job. And I saw that this kid the next day, and I about nearly kicked his ass because I was so fucking pissed off. I didn't kick his ass, but I grabbed him. I grabbed him by the shirt collars and I ran him up against his car because I knew where he lived. I used to pick him up and take him to work all the time. And I just fucking, shook the hell out of him. I said, you motherfucker. You motherfucking lying piece of shit. You got me fucking fired, you piece of shit. And he didn't say a word. He was almost like crying. So I'm a little touchy to this day when someone falsely accuses me of something that could get me fired from something. I'm a little touchy. Oliver Brownlow says, the way Trucker John reads out all the chats, this would be a great stream to listen to if you were illiterate. Sayo says, Robert Perez, it's not Blackhawks. Blackhawk referred to the Blackhawk choppers watching our ass in takes and Bradley's on the ground. The Soulcraft says, I'm only toking on THCA. I try to only go legit Delta 9 TH. So you guys are talking a foreign language to me. I don't know any other shit. Robert Perez, I think Tough Cookie took the money. Big Dog says, Andrew, that's a question I never have to ask. I have over 1,100 glass pipes in the collection. James Williams says, Trucker John, let's the chat choose the topics, Oliver. Soulcraft, if I was in a legal state, though, and could pick my strain, I'm sure I'd toke more. Josh, wrongful termination. Andrew Petrie, okay, I'm out. Okay. All right, Andrew. Mad Mac, Slava Ukraini. Hey, Mad Mac, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Always good to see Mad Mac in the chat. Mad Mac, yeah, I'm late. Had a doctor's appointment. Well, I hope that all went well. I hope that all went well. And I think I'm caught up. I think I'm pretty well caught up. Oh, you know what? Shoot. 2 hours and 20 minutes. I better not go too much later. I don't know how much longer this mic is going to last. Remember, we had a problem last time with the mic dying. So before that happens, before that happens, you better get Tough Cookie in here. Speaking of Tough, does someone mention my name? Yeah, Tough Cookie. Tough Cookie didn't do shit. Tough Cookie don't get people fired. No. Tough Cookie fires people. Anyhow, I just want to say hello to everybody before Trucker John's mic dies. He's got this really high-tech equipment here. It goes about 2.5 hours before the thing dies. So, yeah, I just want to get in here and say, if I don't see you guys again, happy Thanksgiving. And hopefully I'll survive. I know there are a lot of people that like to eat cookies during the holidays. So it's a rough time for us in the cookie community, so to speak. It could be a tough time. So please, during Thanksgiving, don't eat cookies. Just eat pies and cakes and turkey, of course. Please stay away from the cookies. It might be one of my relatives. And I don't need that. I don't need that kind of grief. All right? So stay away from the cookies. Please, for the love of God, would you please stop eating the cookies? Okay? Look, we're people too. Kind of. Anyhow, I just wanted to pipe in before the mic dies. Hey guys, just want to say hi to everybody. Please don't vape in the car. Trucker John has an issue. Please don't vape or smoke or smell like weed in his car. It sets him off. It's a trigger. It's a trigger device, apparently. So, and he gets all cranky. He gets a little cranky. All right, I'm not gonna lie. I know Trucker John. He can be a nice guy, but every now and then he gets a little cranky. So, yeah, don't smoke or even suggest that he smokes. He kind of has PTSD, I think, from the old fire sprinkler job. He's got a little PTSD, and that was 40 years ago. So, my gosh. Just think if he had actually gone through some actual fucking trauma. The guy would be a basket case, total basket case. Anyhow, hey, maybe we'll see you this afternoon. I think Trucker John was saying he might do an afternoon show. So, you ain't seen the last of me yet. I might be back. Just want to say a quick hi though before I think the mic is going to die at any moment. I think it is. So just wanted to say hi real quick. All right, yeah, I better. Thanks for the reminder there, Paul, the purple beard guy. Hey, Paul, the purple beard guy. Thanks for the reminder. I better shut this down because I don't want to go through a thing where the mic dies and then I go 10 minutes on a rant of the most beautiful rant you've ever heard, but you won't hear it. But so do you guys? Well, what do you guys think? Should I do? Because Hal's not on today. Should I do a? Should we do a 3 o'clocker today, Pacific time, for shits and giggles? Give me a thumbs up if you think I should do another show this afternoon for the shits and giggle crowd. You know, if not, I'll just I might start Ubering earlier or something. I don't know, but I do think I'm going to try to get out and do a haircut. Get a haircut. Mad Max says yes, please, 1,500, and I got a thumbs up from Nick Rich. That's all I need. I got 2 thumbs ups basically. Rubber Perez. All right, so the soul crap. My dog did. Dio is begging for a walk anyway. Yeah, we can take a break. Go walk your dogs. Go get a haircut. I think I'm going to get a haircut because my hair is looking really like I just don't like it. It's just too long. I got to do something about that. Maybe I'll get a haircut, and then this afternoon we'll do another a little shit show where I read the chats. I read your chats, and maybe I'll have something more to say about how I really hate my passengers. Don't I? I just came to that realization. I hate my passengers. No, I don't. I really don't. I'm joking. See, that's the thing is I joke, and then I end up getting fired because of the joke because people think I'm not joking. I think I do have PTSD from the fire sprinkler job from over 40 years ago. Oh my God. I just came to that realization. I have PTSD. No, I shouldn't. That's not it. See, I shouldn't even joke about that. PTSD is not a joking matter. I should not. I'm an asshole for even doing that. Anyhow, guys. All right. Well, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. Thanks for. See, we did get a super chat or a super sticker earlier. I'm afraid to click on it because then I will lose my all messages abilities. With my device, I'm having issues with my devices. Robert Perez, come back fresh and 20 years younger. Wouldn't that be nice? To come back 20 years younger. I would love to come back 20 years younger. I would love it. Mad Mac, they're going to charge extra for that hair. Jolie, as in Ronnie James Dio. Nick Rich, Johnny Million has a show at 5 Eastern. We just might have to go head to head. I might be going head to head against Johnny Million. Because I'm not going to do a Thursday show. So maybe I should sneak an extra one in today. I will do Wednesday. I was planning on doing Wednesday. I mean, that would be an extra show because I usually don't do Wednesday. So we'll do one today. And I was thinking about doing a Wednesday, maybe after Hal, because I think Hal's doing a Wednesday. And then maybe I'll do a post-show Hal on Wednesday. Thursday, no show. I will be, hopefully, celebrating Thanksgiving with my family down in SoCal. And then Friday, probably be traveling back home to here. And then Saturday, we'll do a show on our regularly scheduled post-Hal Sparks show on Saturday. All right, guys. So I'll see you. I'm going to sign off, and I'll come back on at 3. I know Johnny Million's on, and I love Johnny Million, but, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it happens. It happens. We overlap. We do overlapping. In the meantime, guys, take care of yourselves. We're in for a bumpy 4 years. Like I say, let's help each other. Let's hold each other. Let's hold each other up, support each other. Let's get through it. Let's do everything we can to take back the Congress in 2026. Let's do everything we can to inform the low information voters. Let's do everything we can. And let's hang in there. And let's all have a great holidays, the best we can. And the important thing is if you can spend time with family and friends and just love each other and help each other get through this. All right, I'll see you guys again. I'm planning on coming back on at 3 p.m. Pacific time right here. We'll do another little get together. But in the meantime, guys, just remember this. Take this to heart. Really, what you got to do. Here's what you got to do. Here's the big secret of what you got to do.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid, but doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win, right here on the Trucker John live stream. No, this time to say goodbye. The show is coming in. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. Don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes, might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes, but if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower. No, that's not what I meant. But I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stopped a truck driving. Who am I trying to kid? At least when I was out there driving, I could handle the skid. Doing this live stream, baby, it's been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again, right here on the Trucker John live stream. We gonna do it again and again and again, right here on the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back